Thank you all for joining us to this discussion about the Spanish regulatory landscape on iGaming. Like most of the European jurisdictions, Spain is a highly regulated online market. I would say, I would start saying that we are talking about a mature market already, a market that comes, which regulation comes from 2011, and the first round of licenses were granted in 2012. This is 14 years already of iGaming market. I would say that the main characteristic is that it has got a strong supervision from our regulatory body, which is the DGOJ, as well as a strong competitive market in terms of the business side. So according to that, we will have today a discussion not only based on the regulatory perspective, as you might think for the title of the panel, but also I want to include, or I would like that this discussion talks about the business side of the online market. The fact that this happens within the frame of affiliate conference, it still makes it still, I think, more interesting, because if there is something that has been controversial at the time of regulating in the whole ecosystem, the whole regulatory ecosystem, is exactly that, is marketing and is advertising. And still, to make it better, this discussion is going to have three different angles. The angle coming from the regulator, who's represented today by Eugenio Alvarez, next to my left, who is the Deputy Director on Regulatory Affairs at the DGOJ, which is the body, again, that regulates online gambling in Spain at federal level. Next to his left is Jeff Letlack, who is CEO of Anacatech, representing the B2B side of this story.
B2C, I would say, first, primarily,
you
and
B2C.
B2B.
It says platform.
We take advantage of everything.
Sorry about that.
No, sorry.
Anyway, and the business side, anyway. And then Juan Heredero, who is regional manager for Mexico and Spain at the big and famous Codere, okay? So in order to kick off, I would like to start by asking our three speakers today about how, if the current regulatory Spanish framework, how it balances the player protection at the same time that commercial sustainability. I cannot start with other person that, of course, our regulator next to my left. Please, Eugenio.
Thank you very much, Santiago. Well, first of all, as Santiago said, I'm part of the staff of the DOJ, so I'm responsible actually for drafting legislation. So these questions touches me a lot. I think this is a question that comes up very often when we have discussions about regulation, and I always stop and think, why do we keep circling back to the same point? The question seems to me as if it were intended to say that regulation always, in every case, harms the market or the economic expectations from the actors of this market, and as if this were a zero-sum game. If we get more player protection or even public order protection, because regulation is not restricted to player protection, then we will be getting less business, and then we get involved in, and I would say, an almost philosophical discussion about where is the right spot that regulation should achieve, not to harm business. I think the interesting question is asking ourselves, why do we keep asking this question? And the reason is, in my very humble opinion, it has to do with the very economic structure of the gambling business. We've been publishing since 2019, maybe. What we see and what other European regulators see is that small share of players account for large amounts of losses. In Spain, actually, would be that 5% of players account for 64% of total losses. That is 100,000 people accounting for 1.3 billion euro of losses. And that's the fact that motivates the question. The excessive reliance of the gambling sector on a small number of players. So I would say that the right question should be how or what should be done to have a less dependent sector on such a small number of players. That's what I would like to say here.
Thank you, Eugenio. Jeff?
Good morning, everyone. I will follow up a little bit what Eugenio has said and to answer also his question. So there are two questions in one. From an operator perspective, and I'm sure Juan will follow up as well, and also from a B2B sector, Spain remain very attractive market. I think there is good work has been done in the Spanish regulation. However, to answer the first question, I think balance is quite important. It's very important to operate safe, to ensure player protection, but at the same time, I think we need to emphasize a lot that credibility and predicting changes in the future do impact the operation. If we do not know what will be in the next month or next 6 months or next year, or we have seen changes coming up often, that makes the operation a little bit sensitive. I think this is one of the things that from an operator perspective and also from a provider perspective, we do suffer in Spain. Therefore, I think the next steps is to give a certain certainty to the operators to have a proper plan with minimum changes so that we can ensure the investment, and we also can ensure that investments are not really diversifying to elsewhere, especially from an unregulated or attracting player to go to an unregulated environment. I think this is one of the most sensitive topic we have been debating internally. Player value, I do agree 100%. We have seen it in UK. We can compare it to other markets that we do operate. And Spain, from player value, you mentioned losses. Yes, it's big. The amount of player, yes, is small. Therefore, the average losses per player in Spain is big compared to the rest of the market. This still, we'd all back up the topic supporting player protection, but of course, at the same time, from a business perspective, we do need to have a certain certainty to invest further in the market. I think the balance is the key here.
Thank you, Jeff. Juan?
Well, I absolutely agree on this point. Well, actually, now thinking on the balance, if we are in a balanced situation or not, I think it's inevitable to talk on the short term and the long term. That is very related to what you have said right now. On the short term, I mean, it's balanced. It's working because I mean, in the end, the business is growing. GGR has grown. It's fine. But on the long term, what is going to happen? We don't know. And changes on regulation affect a lot and can dramatically change the things in the long term. As Eugenio was saying, we are pending of 2 regulations with impact on the player and the business. That is the algorithm of risky players detection and the UN deposit limits that we don't know how it's going to affect the business. We also have the the entrance on the market of the unregulated prediction market like Calci or these ones that are working a lot in the US and that are coming to Europe, and they are unregulated in Spain, and it can change a lot the landscape of sport betting. And finally, we have another data that is interesting. That is the fact that while casino is growing in the business and is leading the growth, sport is growing on GGR but not on stakes. I mean, this means that the operator have been able to increase their profitability on the sport, but the fact is that the pie is the same that 5 years ago. This means the business is not growing. We are stuck there, and this can be in part because of the regulation.
Thank you, Eugenio.
Just one comment here, and it is not to polemize, of course. I mean, but I think the regulation in Spain is well known. I mean, the projects that DGOJ or the government has on gambling activity for Spain are well known. The process to approve any regulation takes some time, and operators and other stakeholders can take part in it. I mean, with their allegations. Maybe later on we will talk a little bit about the next projects we have, but I think they are well known. It's been we've been working on them, and they've been submitted to public consultations, public information periods during the last at least 2.5 years. So I mean, there's no big surprise in what is going to be new on the future in the Spanish regulation.
Juan, you don't seem to agree on
Well,
this.
yeah, I agree on the big part. It's true that we know the changes. I mean, we are aware of them because it's public information, and the public information is published and is accessible for everybody. What is not so exactly, what at least from the operator perspective, is the fact that sometimes you know the last change when it's publicated on the official gazette, and sometimes when you see the change and you see the data when the date when the law entered into force, you can do nothing to change or adapt your business or adapt your platform, and that's my main concern of this, or my main comment on this. So I understand that the regulator has his job, and his job is to protect the player. Our part is grow the business. I mean, we are all in the same game table with the same rules, and it's what it is. But
Thank you, Juan.
I will prefer to have more time to adapt.
I think you made your point. Eugenio, from a regulatory perspective, from your perspective, from your side, what is the role that affiliates should play in the Spanish ecosystem?
Okay, yeah. We in the DOJ think that the athletes can have and should have a very important role, especially in protecting the regulated online gambling market. Why do we think so? Because we've been seeing the changes that have occurred in the illegal online gambling environment in recent years. And what we are seeing is that illegal gambling is getting more sophisticated. It is more concentrated in a smaller number of operators and backed by intense acquisition strategies, where affiliate marketing plays a central role. So the problem today for us, it is not only that the illegal operators exist, but that they can reach users more effectively, more systematically, and sometimes using deceptive techniques, and in which some affiliates play an important role. They are not just channels to put in contact consumers with this illegal offer. I'm always referring to that. But they are user-centric point where trust is actually created or lost. For us, this is extremely important, because This is not only about protecting intellectual property or issues of money laundering or whatever, but mainly for us at this time to protect vulnerable groups, and especially minors that are taking part in illegal gambling. So we are working very hard to approach this issue. Many of the measures that we take, you know them. Blocking DNS, we are aware that that's not sufficient. We are working with red.es, that's the public entity that manages the Spanish .es country code to cancel domains, and we are also working very closely with Google with all that has to do with SEO positioning and this kind of techniques. So what we were where we think affiliates can help to protect this market is by active compliance, and that's very easy, working exclusively with Spanish licensed operators, reviewing continuously the content the content they use, the links, by being responsible in the dissemination of commercial communications, trying to avoiding deceptive or misleading techniques, everything that can mislead the user. The clarity is very important. And also, why not collaborating with the DOJ by reporting illegal online gambling operators, suspicious affiliate networks, or evasion techniques. So what we think is that affiliates are extremely important to hold together a good regulated market.
Thank you, Eugenio. I was saying at the introduction that one of the most controversial issues or matters at the time of regulating online gambling in Spain has been marketing and advertising. I would like to hear from the operator side the restrictions that were imposed, how they impact in your activity, in your daily activity.
Okay, well, for me, the biggest impact that it had, the Royal Decree of Commercial Communication, is the way of how the brands are discovered. Okay, for those that are not aware of this Royal Decree, what happened is that basically the mass media were fully restricted. Only was able to broadcast TV from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. At the beginning, even the digital press was restricted. So, and social media. So what happens there? That is almost impossible to achieve brand awareness, to show your brand and to be detected, so the players are aware of your brand. This, I mean, it affects a lot differently if you are an old brand, a mature brand, or not. If you're a mature brand like us, for example, it's not a big issue. I mean, we have shops in the street. We were investing a lot in marketing in the past, so everybody knows us, and everybody look for us. But if you are a newcomer that starts the operation in the country, is very complicated to make you know. And in fact, I don't know, I mean, if this is related or not, but in the first years of the Royal Decree of Commercial Communication, there were a lot of operators that left the country. Among them, there were two that they were very big in the international market. They were aimed to be a medium-sized operator in Spain, and they both left the country. I guess they weren't able to find this sustainability, because in the beginning you need to reach this brand awareness. Another consequence that I find in this Royal Decree is that the operators were banned from the sport landscape. They were eliminated from the sport programs and sport competitions. They were eliminated also from the sport newspaper, and this has as a consequence that all the operators move their marketing efforts from sport to casino. And again, I don't know if this is related or not, but the fact is that the casino in the last 5 years has grown a lot and the sport has got stuck. More things that happened recently, some restrictions were removed, and again some this way of find the awareness is easier, but it's still complicated, because only channel to grow in this kind of awareness is the digital media, that it was reopened again, and the social media. And finally, there is another fact that has happened in the last 5 years, that is the illegal gambling. Before, it was not in the speech, the illegal gambling. Now it is in the speech, and it's true also that I remember in the past it was not so easy to be impacted by illegal gambling advertising. Recently, it's easier, especially on social media, and I think that can be related to the fact that the regulated operators are investing less on social media because of the restrictions, and maybe the illegal operators have found this gap to fill with their investment.
Jeff?
I do back up. It's a little bit of lot of details that Juan has shared here. I do agree 100% with what Juan has said. I think one of the question is for the regulator is how important are the small businesses to get in? How important is to attract new businesses to Spain? Of course, Codere is known, and I think there's a valid point from a branding element perspective. But I think looking at other markets and etc., they're looking into, from a government point of view, they're looking into new investments from a different operators to invest and to open in Spain. I think that should be one of the key, how to facilitate new operators to come to Spain. We mentioned also before the affiliates, and I think personally, I would a little bit contradict Eugenia with all respect. I think is not looking at the affiliate is not the key. And I can expand my point of view here. Limiting the affiliate, one way at the end is up to the player where he wants to play. If the operator in Spain is being restricted and forced to have a certain, I would say, last minute changes, that would take us time from a product perspective to adjust to it. It requires a different strategy, different type of investment to adapt, whereby unregulated environment is still there, and they do afford to pay a lot the affiliate. So it's really a matter of how much the affiliate would like to earn, and I do believe the affiliate won't earn as much as possible. And an unregulated operator will have this affordability to pay as much as possible to an affiliate. Therefore, is really turning in circle, whereby the victims would be always the player. But at the end, also the new operators will suffer and might find Spanish environment not really attractive, and they can come out 1 million GGR. It sounds quite interesting, but they will still leave Spain because they cannot afford paying the affiliate. They cannot afford to extracting enough value for the CPA they have paid, and add to that all expenses and etc. And all the investment towards technology to be changed. And I think that is one of really the question that the DOJ should think of is, do we need to attract new investment, and how can we sustain or retain those new small operators, those new brands to come and remain in Spain?
Thank you, Jeff. Eugenio, what's the main priority, regulatory priority for the DGOJ today? Anything that the affiliates should be aware of?
Well, I don't think it is not related specifically to affiliates. Of course, they can be affected. Maybe some of you know that very recently, last Monday, we've opened a period of public consultation to draft a new law, not a new law, amend the existing law. I want to say this because it is a good opportunity. It will be open this public consultation period up to the 22nd of June, and some of the questions that you are raising here could be addressed by you by sending us your opinions during this period. It is open for everyone, so this is an opportunity that I take to invite you to give us your opinion. Main priorities are to complete the safer gambling framework that we've been designing since the 2020 Royal Decree on Commercial Communications and the 2023 Royal Decree on Safer Gambling Environments. That means that we are going to approve 3 projects in the following months before the summer holidays. This will be a well-known project, the Royal Decree on Joint Deposit Limit System. This will have to be approved by the government, not by us. The second one will be the resolution on a mechanism to detect at-risk players, something you mentioned before, Juan. And the third one will be a resolution to approve some warning signals in the commercial communications. These will be approved, as I said, June, July, we will see, but very, very, very soon. They are at the very end stages of the gubernative process to be approved, and we expect to have them coming into force next year.
Thank you. By holidays, we understand before the 1st of August, right?
That's it. That's holidays in Spain. My holidays.
Okay.
No, yes. Holidays is
Excellent.
August. Next month, June, July. It depends on some circumstances.
Thank you. Coming back to operators, what's the biggest challenge in the Spanish market? Is it compliance? Is it profitability? Is it advertising? Which one is it?
Well, once again, this depends a lot on the operator. I mean, it's not the same a small operator than a big operator. If you are a new operator, a small operator without brand recognition, for me, the big challenge in Spain is build that brand recognition that gives you later the acquisition. Without acquisition, you cannot start the business. Then, if you are an older company, then it's retention. I mean, when you have brand awareness, you are an already mature operator, you have, I'm going to say granted, a small amount of
Yes,
acquisition.
But what I mean, Juan, is with the current regulatory frame, which one is, from your perspective, the most, the biggest challenge?
From me as Code, as an operator, for me right now is retention and compliance. So compliance is necessary but complicated, and this is not good or bad. This is a fact. One of the problems of the industry is that it's very transversal in the regulatory considerances. I mean, you have to comply with a lot of things: AML, gambling, data protection, marketing, which makes complicated to comply. Then another big complication is that we are a very technological industry, and technology fails. I mean, it happens that technology fails, and usually failing technology becomes a sanction because you are not accomplishing. And I'm not saying, I mean, sanctions are necessary because it makes you comply and it makes you everything, but it's just difficult. And it's important to say that all operators are very concerned with accomplishment. Not having a fault or having a sanction is something that is very, very big damage for the company. and it's taken very seriously by the operator. And the main, I mean, all the operators want to comply 100%.
Jeff, let me ask you a different question. How the relationship between operators and affiliates has changed after the approval of the advertising restrictions? Oh, sorry, the regulator is here. After the approval of the decree on advertising.
They are linked, actually. I think overall, the making hard the acquisition, making advertising is becoming harder. The acquisition also suffers. That is one thing. The relationship with the affiliate, I think I touched base on it, the first point, that the cost of the acquisition is going higher. Adding to that the compliance changes, and we have to adapt into it, the operational cost is becoming also harder. Therefore, the first key or the main key that we're looking into it right now, and we are only a small operator, we're not as big as Codere as a complement. As a small operator, the operational cost is quite expensive. Therefore, we're focusing a lot on retention. In order for us to look into the retention, there's always, you cannot retain 100% of your player. I mean, this is a nonsense. Therefore, we need to look at a different type of innovation. Innovation comes against with the compliance. Therefore, you always be restricted to a certain level how innovate you can go. Then the product offering, unfortunately, we do focus on in the casino. Then getting a different product takes time. Getting a sportsbook vertical takes time, and so on. Comparing to different jurisdiction in Europe, where we have different visibility and different experiences. So I think the whole ecosystem for a small operator is still challenging, and I think adding to that the affiliate, reinforcing the affiliate to be compliant with Spanish regulator, it's a long shot. And for now, from the cost perspective, it's still expensive for us to keep investing, acquiring players, capping the acquisition, because for much you cannot, I think one can agree with me here, you can acquire only certain amount of players in the market in Spain. I think every operator will share with me that they cannot really scale up. The acquisition is always limited. Therefore, you have to focus on the player value and you have to focus on the retention. Add all of that, I think the margin is quite small at the end for a small business.
Sorry, guys. We have less than 10 minutes for questions, just so you know.
I will pass the word
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Flor.
perfect.
I want to make now the million-dollar question to Genio. In cases where affiliates promote their own brand or services rather than gambling operator, this could be still considered indirect advertising of gambling activities, given the broad and ambiguous wording of the Royal Decree. In that scenario, the affiliates will fall within the scope of the Royal Decree of Gambling Advertising and become subject to relevant advertising sanctions or restrictions. How does the DGOJ draw the line in practice, and does it consider the current definition of indirect commercial communication provides sufficient legal certainty?
Okay, legal certainty, that's the favorite expression of lawyers. Okay, no problem at all. Just a quick clarification, the definition of commercial communication in Spain is not an innovation of the Royal Decree on Commercial Communications. I mean, this is a well-known, established definition that is on the advertising law of 1988. And it is comprised of two features: an intention to make advertising, to enter into contact with third parties, the consumers, in order to promote products or services. And this intention can be made directly or indirectly. That's in the 1988 law. So there's no innovation at all. Okay, that's something that I want to make clear. Second question, affiliates are mentioned explicitly as they are explicitly within the scope of the Royal Decree on Commercial Communications, and it is very difficult for me, at least from an abstract point of view, to imagine an affiliate that acts as an intermediary and earns commission by doing this, not being promoting the operators, because that's their job. So I can't imagine a situation where they wouldn't be comprised within the scope of the royal decree. In any case, there are some clear limits. I mean, comparison sites, display of betting odds, advertising of gambling products, even demos, okay? Because this was one question that was asked us when the royal decree came into force. All these would mean the application of the royal decree. In any case, there's something I want to stress here. Advertising is complicated. I mean, when there is a regulatory environment, so there are plenty of gray zones. Okay, when you are advertising, I would try to avoid these gray zones. I think it is relatively easy to distinguish them. But in any case, if anyone has a doubt, they can ask the DOJ. I want to do this. Okay, let's see what you want to do and if it is possible or not. When the royal decree on commercial communications came into force, we received a lot of questions, not only from affiliates but from operators, of course, and many other stakeholders, and we are pleased to answer them.
Any questions coming from the floor? If you could please identify yourself with your name and the company, I will appreciate that. And then please let us know who you want to direct your question to.
Hola, buenos días. I'm Jairo from gambling.com. My question is for Eugenio. What has been your communications with the tech giants? Because as an affiliate, biggest problem is not the brand. It's mostly the tech giants that are giving us problems in terms of the search, a lot of illegal activity, and especially Google and Facebook are the ones that mostly send our players to the bad actors.
Sorry, I didn't get the whole question.
What are your plans when it comes to regulation with big tech giants? What are they doing to help us as affiliates and also as operators to get the right information and correct responsible gambling message?
Okay. As I said before, we are in contact with Google. What we want from them is that they are more proactive in identifying the illegal advertising that is being promoted via SEO techniques, and that it is pushing out the legal operators and the affiliates which work with these legal operators in the web. That's what we are trying to do in this case with Google. Okay, that's it. We have some ideas and we are sharing them with Google.
We have 2 more minutes.
We don't have time. Sorry, we run out of time.
Well, okay.
We have to move to the next panel. I'm sorry.
Perhaps you can approach us now and ask the question. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and please help me to thank our panelists today.